One's ready. One's ready. Go!
Everybody, welcome back to the One's Ready podcast. This is your daily drop for the 21st of May. We still have 2 slots available for the, I almost said September. We are planning something for September, but all that is still in the infancy stages. What we do have, though, is 2 slots remaining for 21 and 22 June in San Diego for the Operator Training Summit. Hit us up, leave a comment, or email me at jared@onesready.com to get added to the chat and secure your spot there. Also, check out ATACLETE. Head over to onesready.com. Over to the right-hand side, hit Prep Partner Discount. Scroll down till you see ATACLETE. Hit any of those hyperlinks on ATACLETE. And as long as you don't have pop-up blockers enabled, it'll redirect you to their site, and then a pop-up will give you a generated code that'll get you a 10% discount on any of the equipment and anything that they have. So if you're prepping for Air Force Special Warfare, BUDS, Special Forces Assessment and Selection, Ranger School, or you just want to get better, they've got rocket fins, ropes for tying knots underwater. They've got Alice rooks, booties, let's see, snorkels, high volume masks. They got everything. So check them out. All right. Now, if you're new here, this is the curated news from Public Affairs Office from the Department of the Air Force. And I've basically taken the 5-page document, 6-page document, run it through AI to get some kind of summary and the gist of everything. And I'll give you any kind of insight or opinion to each of them, should I have one. All right, joint news. Golden Dome Missile Defense Initiative. President Donald Trump announced the Golden Dome Missile Defense Initiative, costing $1.75 billion. Good God. Will be completed within 3 years, led by Vice Chief of Space Operations General Michael Guillotine. The initiative aims to protect the U.S. and Canada. See, we're including Canada in that, requiring unprecedented cross-organizational integration. I'd be willing to bet that there's going to be stuff on the southern border as well. So Mexico will also fall under that blanket of protection. I've got to imagine, but probably the priority of it is going to be in Canada, just because Russia can just come over the North Pole and do stuff to us. So, all right, review of Afghanistan withdrawal. Secretary of Defense ordered a special review panel to examine the U.S. military withdrawal from Afghanistan, focusing on accountability and transparency. The panel includes notable figures like Sean Parnell and Stuart Scheller, following the chaotic 2021 withdrawal that resulted in significant casualties. Yeah, complete garbage of a withdrawal. And yeah, the Biden administration has accountability in that, as well as the military leaders. You know, General Milley, who we have all been very critical of. The dude is a complete joke and always has been. And he definitely lost his way, because for sure he knew what he was doing and how things should have gone. And like, I know I'm giving you my opinion, but at the same time, like, look at all the military doctrine, look at all the analysis on all of it. It was completely wrong. And somebody who is the Joint Chiefs of Staff should 100% know better, especially with his background. Next, CYBERCOM 2.0 plan review. Defense Department leaders are reevaluating the CYBERCOM 2.0 plan to enhance U.S. Cyber Command's workforce and management. The review aims to align the command structure with national security needs, with a potential model similar to the U.S. Special Operations Command. You know, we talked about this kind of yesterday. We hit it. I agree. Like, SOCOM is a global, it's not a geographical combatant commander. It is a global combatant command, because things that, well, one, SOCOM is not just in one theater. Two is much of the effects and impacts that SOCOM has translates other, geographical areas. So the things that we do in maybe Africa will definitely impact things that we do in the Middle East and Europe and all that kind of stuff. So, cyber definitely has no geographical bounds, so it makes no sense why it would be constrained. I think with SOCOM being so good at acquisitions and stuff like that, I think that CYBERCOM would be actually, it would benefit them a lot to model themselves off of SOCOM. Next, National Guard for Immigration Enforcement. The Defense Department is considering a request for 20,000 National Guardsmen to assist with mass deportation efforts, as discussed by National Guard Bureau Chief General Stephen Nordhaus. The Guard's role in border enforcement is under review, with assurances that readiness for other missions remains unaffected. And if you're not familiar with the missions they have, yes, they deploy with us and all that kind of good stuff, but they also have a stateside mission in terms of humanitarian aid and disaster relief and that kind of stuff. So as hurricane season, if we're already in it, I don't know if we're already in it or not, but as hurricane season approaches, like they responded to North Carolina, they responded to California or North Carolina for the hurricane. They responded to Florida, Georgia for hurricanes. They responded for the fires in California, that kind of stuff. So they do have a stateside mission, and they are usually busy. So as long as they're ready, which they say they are, I think we're good to go. And at the same time, like protecting our border is a stateside mission. In my opinion, I guess. I don't know if that's doctrinally true or not. U.S. Philippines maritime drills. U.S. and Philippine forces conducted joint maritime exercises in the South China Sea to strengthen defense partners and modernize capabilities. Drills affirm commitments to regional maritime security despite China's territorial efforts. These exercises are important because it helps. One, it helps us assess the strength and the capability of other countries' militaries so that we can identify any kind of weaknesses or anything like that that we need to bolster and strengthen up. It's good because, there's obviously a lot of times there's a language barrier, but additionally, there's just overall communications barriers. There's encryption, problems that we've got to get through and that kind of stuff. So doing these exercises with partner nations is extremely important for us. And at the same time, it keeps the U.S. as the partner of choice for these countries, which is important because if they don't pick us, then they'll likely pick China or they'll likely pick Russia or somebody like that. So it's important that the U.S. remains the partner of choice. Next, ICE agents at Marine Corps bases. ICE agents will be stationed at entry points of 3 Marine Corps bases, Camp Pendleton, Quantico, and Hawaii, as part of a pilot program to enhance base security. The initiative aims to deter unauthorized entries while maintaining clear distinctions between military and law enforcement roles. Man, we had a breach 2 weeks ago here on Nellis, funny enough, and it was right outside of my building. A tweaker jumped the gate or jumped the wall here on Nellis and then made its way pretty far, pretty close to the flight line because the road that I'm off of is butted up against the flight line where all the jets are. And it's a decent distance away from any kind of wall or border of the base. And then he ended up accosting one of the civilian ladies here and frightened the ever-living shit out of her. Luckily, she's okay and she was good, but security forces was looking for him for quite some time and then happened to be driving by as he was accosting the lady. So they jumped out and secured him and all that kind of good stuff. But like these things happen for sure. All right, Air Force news: Qatari jet conversion for Air Force One. The Air Force is planning to convert a Qatari Boeing 747 into Air Force One as directed by Secretary of Defense. Despite potential national security concerns, the project follows delays in Boeing's delivery of a new VC-25 jet with possible acceleration to 2027. So I'm 2 minds about this. One, I don't like receiving any kind of gifts, especially from a Middle Eastern country like Qatar. They're shady. They always are. They always have been, and they will continue to be. I know they're trying to get into our good graces, but I can't get on board with getting in bed with them. Two is, if you don't think that the 747 is going to be bugged in some kind of way, like, you're out of your mind. And of course they're going to scan it and all that kind of good stuff. So, like, of course that's going to happen. But man, it's a weird kind of thing. Now, with that said, the Air Force One, I think, is 30 or 40 years old. Like, dude, what are we doing? So having this new jet, since Boeing can't get their head out of their ass on the heavy side department, maybe this is the best possible answer. So if that's the case, then like I said, I don't know. But anyway, next, collaborative combat aircraft testing. Both collaborative combat aircraft CCAs, increment 1 models, YFQ 42 Alpha and the YFQ 44 Alpha, are in ground testing and expected to fly this summer, boasting a 700 nautical mile combat radius and F-35 comparable stealth technology. The drones require a smaller operational footprint than crewed fighters, reducing pilot training needs. Sure, okay, that may reduce pilot training needs. However, the pilots that are already flying these F-35, B-21s, and things that are going to be partnered with these CCAs, they need additional training. They need help. You could say physically, but cognitively, like, these are some incredibly smart and incredibly capable people. However, they still need cognitive preparation, cognitive training to make sure that they are able to integrate properly in human machine team with these CCAs. So it is going to be a heavy lift, and hey, I'm happy to have it. Like, I think it's an exciting time that we're doing all this. It's just, Air Force loves these shiny things, right? And we tend to leave the actual human, the people that matter the most, behind. Next, Air Force Reserve funding shortfall. Air Force Reserve Command faces a $26 million shortage for pilot flying hours, risking proficiency, with funds likely depleted by September, which they should be depleted by September, but like, that's the end of the fiscal year. What are you talking about? Limited aircraft availability due to spare parts and supply chain issues further hampers the readiness. So, $26 million shortage sounds like a lot, right? But when you start looking at other Air Force major commands that are 88, $200 million short, like $26 million, I bet there's some major commands that would love to only be $26 million short. Like I said before, and like we've continued to say, the Air Force does not know how to budget. All right, next, F-15EX deployment to Selfridge. The Air Force confirmed plans to station F-15EX Eagle II fighters at Selfridge Air National Guard Base, replacing the A-10 Thunderbolt II mission. Infrastructure readiness is being prioritized to ensure the fighters are operational upon arrival. Congrats to Selfridge. However, I think they're going to miss their hogs too. All right, Thunderbirds Netflix documentary. A Netflix documentary, Air Force Elite Thunderbirds, premiering soon. Actually, it releases on Netflix on the 23rd of May. Showcases the rigorous training and precision of the Air Force's Thunderbird Squadron. The film highlights the squadron's F-16 pilots performing high-risk maneuvers and the enlisted airmen supporting their 75 annual demonstrations. Man, I can't speak to the documentary. Obviously, I haven't seen it, but the trailer itself looks pretty awesome. And me, I've always given the Thunder Chickens a hard time. But I tell you what, I do support the Thunderbirds, and I do support all the airmen and stuff that they do. And I know you guys are listening, so we do love you guys, but we're still going to be critical of you and how much you guys cost. Just like we are with everybody. We're even critical of ourselves. So there you go. All right, next, privatized lodging for Air Force bases. The Air Force plans to privatize lodging at 58 bases by 2027, following a Defense Department directive, which may increase travel costs for airmen. The move could lead to higher lodging rates similar to those seen at Army bases after privatization. Hey, these prices kind of go up every year, but I can imagine with going private, it'll definitely go up. I mean, that was one of the benefits of having an under military. However, the military just wasn't good at keeping up with it. Same with, it was subsidizing it. So privatizing it is, I don't know whether it's good or bad, if the Army regrets it or not, but that's where we're at. So, all right, this is moving on to Space Force news. The Golden Dome leadership assignment, President Trump appointed this is a repeat. It looks like, except it categorized it under Space Force. It's the same thing, though. All right, Space Force civilian reduction. The Space Force will lose nearly 14% of its civilian workforce due to Defense Department cuts, impacting expertise critical for initiatives like Golden Dome. Chief of Space Operations General Chance Saltzman expressed concerns about replacing his expertise in the near term. Yeah, this is a big issue, not just in the Space Force, but Department of the Air Force. And I'm sure the DoD as well, because we have lost quite a few civilians right now, and we're not allowed to hire their replacements. And anything that was vacant, like any position that was vacant prior to the freeze, even though we were advertising for it, they're stuck too. We can't even advertise for positions where civilians didn't quit. So it's a big pain in the ass right now that everybody's dealing with. So I can empathize with the Space Force. Of interest, American veteran released from Venezuela. Air Force veteran Joseph St. Clair and 5 other airmen were freed from wrongful detention in Venezuela following negotiations led by the White House envoy Richard Grenell. The release marks a diplomatic breakthrough amid warnings of consequences for Venezuela. Welcome home. F-35 data transmission demonstration. An F-35 successfully transmitted classified data from Texas to Denmark, showcasing its multi-domain operations capability. The demonstration highlights the jet's potential to collect, analyze, and share data across global networks, enhancing allied interoperability. Rock on. I can't believe that this is the first time that that's happened. I would like to think that we've done that already, but maybe not. All right. B-61-13 nuclear bomb modernization. The B-61-13 nuclear gravity bomb, a new U.S. strategic asset, was developed rapidly through simultaneous qualification and manufacturing processes. This modernization effort reflects a more aggressive approach by the National Nuclear Security Administration to bolster deterrence. I have never heard of that, and I'm going to have to Google that after this. What is a nuclear gravity bomb? The B-61-13. Huh. All right, cool. That's it for today. Appreciate you guys joining us. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and we just appreciate you guys being here. All right, later.